Hey, welcome to another video from Worlds Overrun. My name's Eric, and I'm here with my friend James, and I'm going to show you guys the Twisted Tower add-on for... It's an add-on? It's an add-on, I believe.
It's an add-on.
For our current Kickstarter. We're going to be discussing this briefly and just giving you guys an overview of what's going on. So, yeah, this is going to be a file that I'm working on. This is... there's going to be three variants. Right now you're seeing the double stair variant attached to a 100mm base. This is a 100mm base tile.
They would be if you had to put your screen up.
Oh, my... no, I'm recording. I'm recording my screen. So there you go. So there you go, smart ass. I'm actually recording my screen, and James couldn't see what I was doing, so now he can see what I'm doing. So yeah, this is a two-story section. So I'm going to show you the other variants here, but before I do that, I want to show you how playable this is. So we've got some figures from our friends over at Printable Scenery. Matt made this guy, who we usually refer to as Sid. He's a 30mm. He's a 30mm base character, and we've got him set up on these staircases so you guys can see him. I'll turn them on. I'll give them some color. There you go. So we're showing them on the steps, and you can see how the clearances are. But this is playable. My DM and I have been talking about doing stuff like this for quite some time, where we can really get into a lot of height with our stuff. And this is actually so that we can get to some of the taller platforms that we're building for Inferno, which is, you know, a hell world, or a world with magic close to, say, for instance, a volcano, or inside the gates of hell. So yeah, let me turn off one section here. So this is the full version, and then this is just the upper version. So this is going to be an upper version. So let's see here. Let me turn these guys off. So there's the upper version. And like everything, we're gonna make this so that it prints without. It's going to print in several parts, so it prints without supports. This is going to be the lower version. So here's the lower version here, and I'll turn Sid back on so you can see him on the base. And this will give you access to a lot of things as well. So, yeah. You want to bring up?
All right. So I got a question.
Yeah.
How tall will this How tall will this spiral tower be?
The Twisted Tower, I think it's going to be, from top to bottom, it's going to be just over 300mm, because it's supposed to line up with our 300mm floating island.
Okay.
We really should have called them, just between you and me and the people watching, we should have called them demonic floating islands. This is the demonic floating island, which is still in the works, and so it's from the top of the floating island to the open lock tile. Then I say the top, I mean the play surface, is 300mm, and this guy is just over that, because when I was talking to my DM, we had this idea that, you know, these floating islands would be floating and bobbing up and down, and you'd have just a little bit of a jump down to get onto this play platform, which can hold up to, I think we said that you could jam roughly 3 squads in there, or have 2 squads going up against a boss type character. It's just that big. And when I say big, I'm talking it's relatively large. It's not ginormous by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty substantial. So we're actually talking about this whole structure here, the Twisted Tower. In inches, it's 4 inches by 4 inches. It's a little over that because the tower itself extends out beyond the base platform, but use the base platform as sort of a reference point. And then it's going to be about a little over 12 inches tall, because 300mm is roughly 12 inches. So it's a pretty substantial structure, but it's going to be really nice on the table. We're getting ready to cut it up and get it prepared for printing. We've already printed some of the floating islands, some of the smaller ones, and some of the lower demonic floating islands. But this one here this one needs to be distressed, and I need to work on the chains. The chains are in a block-out state right now, where they're just primitive versions of themselves, and they've been trimmed. So there's the wireframe. And we use we let a little things like overlap help us with making the chains more printable. and we use corrosion. Like if you go down here, you can see some of the corrosion. We use the corrosion to sort of disguise things and fill in some of the volumes so that they definitely look like chains, but they're going to be printable and they're going to be stable. And we calculate for that stuff. A lot of this stuff I learned the old way by sculpting it physically. So yeah, there's some close-up shots there. I'm really excited for this piece. This was a piece that we weren't sure we were going to build, but we started talking about the Twisted Towers. We started talking about my DM and I, Lee Wanika, started talking about this kind of stuff. And honestly, this is the kind of stuff that gets that we both get excited about. My team and I are really excited to make these things, and more so to play with them. James and Mike have been talking to me about this for a while, and we've been talking about what the play space is and how the playable nature of this space is, because if you're playing this like with 40K figures versus D&D figures, cover is going to make a big role in this, and there's a lot of cover in this space, and depending on if you print the full version versus the segmented version, you can get a lot of control for the narrative. And I say narrative, I mean the gameplay itself, not that there's necessarily a story, but there's some really cool things that we can do with this. So this is some of the stuff that we're getting ready to present. And I wanted to give you guys a quick look at this. I'm going to put this into a posed position and give it a little bit of a render. Too bad I don't have anybody other than Sid. It'd be nice to have some more characters for reference, but for the purposes of showing you guys what's coming out in the next couple of days for the Inferno Kickstarter. There you go. Now it's got some shading and lighting on it. This is the Twisted Tower staircase. We just call it the Twisted Tower, but it's a Twisted Tower, but it's stairs so that you can get up to the upper levels. But yeah.
I'd like to make sure everyone stays confused.
Absolutely. The names of things change often. I name something and then somebody comes along and renames it, and then I get frustrated, and then there's fighting and crying and broken teeth, and yeah.
Broken teeth, not crying.
But yeah, I hope you guys are excited for this. This is a fun piece I made. Where I just finished putting this together the other day, and I've already calculated how I'm going to cut it up. We've been talking about that because James and I talk about that a lot. Because we want to make everything as supportless as possible. Sometimes we'll put in some manual supports, or I'll put in this manual supports. That way, when you guys get it, you just throw it on the bed, press the print button, and have a part in under a day, and be ready to put it on the table. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, feel free to check out the Kickstarter or message us over at Worlds Overrun on Facebook.